Today we are going to look into a topic where the world of heavy industry, where the machine never sleep until they have to. This is the story of the most critical high stakes procedure in steelmaking, a story we call the $1 billion pause. In the heart of a steel mill, a blast furnace is a 24/7 beast, and bringing it to a stop and starting it back up is not a simple task. It's a data driven drama where every minute offline costs a fortune and every restart is a calculated risk. Let's dive in. So, why is stopping these giant reactors such as a big deal? Because this is not a light switch. A modern blast furnace is a continuous beast. A planned stop is a major logistical event. An unplanned stop, that's a full blown emergency. Let's talk numbers. A large furnace procedure, roughly 500 tons of molten iron every single hour. Just one day of downtime means 12,000 ton of lost production. A current market price, that's a staggering $6 million in lost revenue every day, and on top of the furnace continues to consume massive amount of energy as it cools with zero output. The financial bleed is immense. So we stop the blast furnace. What actually happens inside? This is where the physics gets real. We call it the physics of a freeze. And the data doesn't lie. First, key chemical reaction like direct reduction continues, rapidly consuming the furnace precious thermal reserve. Its internal heat blank start to drain. Then the heart of the entire iron making process, the cohesive zone, where the raw materials finally melt, it solidify, it freezes solid. The temperature in this critical melting zone can be plunked from a white hot 1500 degrees Celsius to relatively cool 1000 degree in a matter of hours. The key takeaway, the furnace doesn't just pause, it undergoes a fundamental physical change. It becomes a different beast entirely after stopping. So the initial freeze triggers a catastrophic chain reaction, a dominoes effect of failures. It starts simply, the stop is initiated, pulverized coal injection and other injectant are switched off. Domino 1, heat plummets. The cohesive zones solidify, just as we saw. Dominus 2, the chemistry goes haywire. The silicon contained in the hot metal can spike from a normal 0.5% to an extreme 4 or even higher. Dominus 3, this high silicon makes the slag, the waste product, incredibly viscous and sticky. Dominus 4, that's the viscous slag risk solidifying right in the bottom of the furnace in the hearth. And the final dominoes falls, burden, descent, halt completely. The entire furnace full of solidifying material lock up. A multi-story tall reactor frozen in place. So this is a situation. Now, to combat this, operators have a secret weapon, a preemptive strike against the cold. We call it pre-stop gambit. Loading for a warmer future, the strategy, the strategic coke blanket. This is a proactive, data driven move. The objective is simple, compensate for the known massive heat losses during the stop. The action, charge extra coke, known as coke blank, into the furnace 6 to 8 hours before the plant shut down. To give you a sense of the scale of heat requirement, some full furnace startup need a coke blanket representing 50 to 65% of the entire working volume. That can be column of a coke 11-meter high above the tuyers just for the heat of phase. And alongside these, they engineer the slag chemistry for a low basicity, ensuring it remains fluid even with the punishingly high silicon level. It's all about preparing for the worst. Now, coming to the furnace for a restart. Now, if the stop is critical, the restart is the most dangerous activity. This is a delicate walk on a tightrope of heat and pressure. And there are three cardinal sins, a deadly trio of too fast that can doom the entire operation. Sin number one, too fast blow in the risk. The solid mass inside hasn't melted yet. Gas cannot permeate the frozen burden. The result, the sky high pressure difference, gas channel violently along the walls, massive heat loss, and total restart failure. Scene number two, too fast PCI restart. This is a potential catastrophe. If coal is injected before the raceway is clear, it hits the solid cohesive zone and cannot enter. It gets forced backward into the blowpipe system where it can ignite. The result, a high pressure explosion, equipment destruction, and extreme danger. This is not a drill. Scene number three, too high slag viscosity. The risk, the slag solidify in the lower furnace. The result, a chilled hearth, a complete and the total loss of liquid flow to the tap hole. The furnace circulatory system blocks and the situation becomes dire. So, what does a successful restart looks like? Let's look a data-driven success story. A rapid but more importantly controlled blow-in. The strategy was all about a staggered, partial patience approach. At time 0, they started with only 4 out of 24 tuyers, just a whisper of air. After about 20 years, they gradually opened all the tuyers. At the 34-hour mark, they introduced a heavy burden with a coke rate of 440 kilograms per tons of iron to rely and to really drive the heat into the system. Critically, they waited until around 40 hours after startup before they safely restarted coal injection. No rushing. And the payoff, at about 44 hours success, the hot metal silicon stabilizes at a healthy 1.1%. The furnace was hot. The process was stable. A a sort of a textbook type of execution. But what about when you don't have 8 hours to prepare? This is the invisible enemy, the unplanned stop. This is the data of desperation. The scenario, a sudden tear burn through, a major water leak, and sometimes a catastrophic forces an immediate stop. There is no time for the strategic cook blanket. The furnace is caught operating on a knife's edge of heat. The consequences? The thermal reserve is consumed much faster. The risk of a deep chill and a prolonged night martially difficult restart skyrockets. The solution requires aggressive emergency post-stop actions, charging coke immediately and using a specific hose to force the slag basicity down on the fly. It's the crisis management. It's most intense. So, what's the conclusion? This is the art of the controlled crisis. It is about mastering the inevitable. So, in the key takeaways, we can say that stop and starts are not operational failures, they are the ultimate test of operational excellence. Data is your compass, thermocouples, gas analyzer, level indicator. These are not just gadgets, they are your eyes inside the frozen heart of the furnace. Strategy always trumps speed. A slow, methodical, data informed restart is always faster than a rushed one that failed catastrophically. And finally, the goal is not to avoid stops. That's impossible. The goal is to orchestrate them with precision and execute restart with the flawless discipline. It's in these billions-dollar pauses that the true masters of metallurgy separate themselves from the rest.